Hello and welcome to Inside Music, episode number 101. I'm your host, James Shotwell, and just as promised, we're back with a new episode 1 week after the release of episode 100. I'm glad to be back on track, and I think you're really going to enjoy what we have planned for you. My guest this week is Tanner Allen, vocalist for the band Youth In Revolt, who will release their full-length debut album, The Broken, through Outerloop Records on February 17th of this year. Now, if you are unfamiliar with Youth In Revolt, that's perfectly understandable. As I said, they're just about to release their debut full-length, but the band has been around for the last couple of years. They underwent a vocalist change last year when Tanner entered the band, and that's kind of where the conversation today will start. Tanner did not come into the creation of The Broken right at the very start, but he entered at a pivotal time, and he really helped make the record his own. Together, Tanner and I discuss his role in the band, how it has evolved, and what the band is hoping to do with the alternative music scene. I like to think that Youth In Revolt falls into this weird gray area between the kind of thing you expect from a band that would play Warped Tour and the kind of thing you expect from a band who can make it at rock radio. They do a little bit of both, and they do them both very well. Now, before we get into the conversation, I do want to say that this is the first in a small series of episodes we're going to be doing here on Inside Music. I don't know if you follow us on Twitter. You should. Our handle is @InsideMusicPod or @InsideMusicPod. But the next couple of episodes are kind of focusing on what it takes to make it in music in 2017. Now, Tanner and I get into this a little bit in the conversation, not as much as we will in some of the future ones, but we do talk a little bit about how people that the band has surrounded themselves with have helped make them a name that people recognize. They're about to do a short headlining run with some reputable bands underneath them, and how all that kind of came together at a time when it's harder than ever for new bands to break. I don't want to tell you everyone that's going to be on the show in the coming days and weeks, but I do think we have 2 or 3 more episodes like this planned where we'll be talking to different types of bands who are just really starting to break through on the national stage, and we'll talk to them about what that experience is like, the challenges they have faced, and what they're hoping to do now that they've gotten their foot in the door. Tanner's a great place to start, and I think you're really going to enjoy what we've come up with. So, before we get to the show, let me just note that this episode of Inside Music is brought to you by Holix, the music industry's leading digital promotional distribution company. And what that means is really simple. Holix helps people share new and unreleased music without fear of piracy. Better yet, they do it through fully customizable emails and promotional streaming pages. To get access to your own free Holix account, visit holix.com. That's HAULIX.com. I also want to plead with you, urge you, beg you, insist that you give Youth In Revolt a chance. Again, their full-length debut, The Broken, arrives in stores February 17th through Outerloop Records. I've been listening to the album for about a month now myself, and I think it's absolutely incredible. Songs like Love Is a Liar's Game, The Broken, Don't Wait For Me, All Right, and The Closer Only One have been on repeat more often than the rest, but the whole record is definitely worth your time. I'm going to play a little bit of music off of it right now, and then we're going to get to the show. I have hopes of releasing a bonus episode later this week, but don't count me on that just yet. I know every time I say it, things go sideways, so I've probably just screwed ourselves, but there might be more Inside Music this week. Fingers crossed. I'll keep mine crossed, and until then, enjoy the show.
We are broken, we are the wasted and unspoken generation, screaming out till they hear us now. Whoa, whoa.
Okay, man, so where are you at today?
Today I'm in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Oh, really? That's basically where I tell people is my hometown. I'm from West Michigan.
Oh, are you? No way. Yeah, this is where I live. I live like right next to downtown, kind of.
Okay, yeah, I got married in downtown last year, and I'm kind of from like Kalamazoo, basically.
Oh, cool, dude. Really belated congrats to that.
No problem. I did not know you were in Grand Rapids. That's pretty awesome. So we probably actually know a lot of the same people, and we're finding that out at the last possible minute.
Yeah. Yep.
Fair enough, man. Well, how's life going? I mean, we are, what is it, like 2.5 weeks from the release of this record? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I think we can all kind of say, speaking for the rest of the band, that we were really excited to actually put this out. We were bummed that it got delayed from January 20th, but so it's kind of just like another month when we've been, biting our nails for 2 or 3 months before that. So
Yeah, so let's start there. The album was delayed pretty late in the game. So what was the cause for that?
because it was pretty simple actually, because we've had the record, the final mixes and masters like done for probably 4 months, maybe even more than that. It was just a production error in the actual like printing of the CDs. And so, yep, exactly. So it was just one of those like, oh wait, this isn't right. So unfortunately, we had to, delay it. But it'll be out soon now. So the wait is almost over.
Absolutely. And you guys have kept people entertained. You've released singles and videos and all that jazz in the interim.
Yeah, that was kind of the plan. We released an extra single that "Don't Wait for Me," kind of in lieu of saying sorry for the record being delayed.
Well, it seems to work out because I have been watching online and it seems like there is a lot of excitement around this record, man. People seem very hype on it.
Yeah, we've all been really excited. It's kind of a scary thing to change a vocalist, just because that's a pretty core thing of a band. I mean, not by any means like the most important, but like a lot of people will connect specifically to that. And when you change a vocalist, a lot of people will not like the band anymore regardless. And we've been completely like dumbfounded at the at how many people have just stuck around and showed support, and we're excited about it.
Yeah, well, for people that don't know, could you kind of give them the Marvel origin story of your role in the band, and then I guess kind of the band in general to kind of catch people up to speed with where you guys are?
Yeah, of course. So on Warped Tour, they kind of decided that they were going to part ways with their vocalist. It was a mutual decision, and I think both parties are happy as of now. But I had talked to Kenny, our bass player, I can say now, for a little while, and we kind of I was planning on leaving my old band. That was a band called Brightwell, and going back to school and doing all that jazz. And Kenny ended up sending me some of the demo tracks for the new record, and I really liked it. And I just kind of woke up one day and I was just like, all right, let's do this, dude. So yeah, just one thing led to another. We ended up grabbing Arvin, who was actually also in my old band. He's an incredible drummer and like my really good friend. And then Chris, who actually, fun fact about Chris, he was in Youth In Revolt before they got signed. And then they grabbed George, and now we have Chris back. So it's kind of a funny story. And I mean, I could probably talk for about an hour about it, but
that's okay.
That's
perfectly fine.
Yeah, and we're really happy with the way that things are turning out right now.
So how long after you joined the band did you guys enter the studio? Like, did you join the band and immediately have to start writing material for this record? I mean, or I guess maybe the better question is, how does the band write? Like, did they already have songs written they wanted you to come into? Was just the music there? Where did you come into the creation of this record?
Yeah, so that's actually, I guess, a pretty important question. When I came into the band, most of the record was already done kind of in demo forms. So I ended up actually going to my friends Josh Buckner and Nick Matskow's, who they worked for Joey Sturgis while he was still recording, and they were kind of like his vocal team. And so I ended up, since they're in Detroit and they were closer to me, just going there and doing the vocals for the record. A lot of it was already done because we did work with, I think it was Drew Folk and some other people that helped co-write a lot of the stuff. And then True also did write a good amount of stuff for the record. Just, to not discount any credit that he deserves for that. And yeah, so it was almost immediately when I joined that I went into the studio and did that.
Now, do you feel coming in so late into the process as you do that you were still able to kind of add your own mark to what's happening or to this record and make it your own in some way?
Oh yeah. Yep, absolutely. And Josh is someone that I've worked with a lot before. So in the studio, we had a whole lot of sort of contemplation time of just as far as, what's going to make this really sound like you, because I didn't want to be True's replacement, like I wanted to be myself, and this band as a whole, like, breach on a new chapter.
No, absolutely.
Because
makes sense. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So, oh no, you're fine. I was just saying we changed about like half the members of the band, so it's kind of what sucks is a lot of fans wouldn't, are probably a little bit turned off by that, at least initially. But what's good is we have a real opportunity to expand on like the previous sound of Youth In Revolt and really move forward and do something that we feel like is different and cool.
The name of the band is so great, especially at a time like right now where there is all this talk of a resistance and by taking action. And here you have a band whose name basically screams, hey, we're a platform for some kind of message you might need to hear. With everything going on right now, I know you guys have an album out. This is the tricky thing about being an artist in my mind is like there's all this craziness happening in the world right now, but the album you're about to release, you recorded like several months ago. So it's not necessarily immediately reflective of the time we're in. But do you feel that tug still though? Because you do have this band that's Youth In Revolt, and I guess there's probably people who look to that name and brand to be like, okay, well, what are we fighting against here?
Yeah, I think like the record, for example, wasn't so much time stamped for right now, because obviously we're in the mix of this whole political like hurricane, and like regardless of what side you're on, it's crazy, and just a ton of other stuff as far as like women's rights, LGBT community rights, and all these things. There are a bunch of issues we're dealing with right now, but our record as a whole and sort of the thing that we're trying to go towards is not so much specifically right now, but it's the issues that we're dealing with over time, always, because 5 years from now, it's going to be something else that's just as important, but different. And we want to make kind of a platform that, maybe like giving people an opportunity to voice their opinion. And we did that with the that kind of hashtag New Year's Revolt thing, where fans would send us just a picture of themselves holding a poster board of something that they wanted to change the next year, or that was hurting them this past year. So we kind of want to keep that up, and not make it a timestamp thing. Just make it a platform for people to voice their opinion, and because we think it's important for everyone to be heard. So
yeah, a little bit more of a big picture kind of revolt against the norm.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about the record itself. I mean, the title track, kind of the big lead single on the record, I guess, kind of really sets the tone. Would you say that this is a song like The Broken? Is that kind of like a calling card for the band? Is that everything, a little bit of everything you do well?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Well, from a musical standpoint, we felt like it was, and because especially like, for example, there's a guitar solo in it that kind of, I guess, shattered the old things, kind of saying that we want to move a little bit more towards a pop rock sort of sound. And yeah, and then also from the message, we feel like it delivered a pretty good idea of what we want to do. You know, obviously we don't want to start an actual revolution and have people outside of the White House screaming our lyrics, but you know, we want people to come together and make a difference for whatever cause it is that they support.
Do you in your experience, you know, you've gone out there, you've played these songs for people. When they come up to you and they tell you that they're connecting with a song like "They're Broken," what is it about that song that is drawing them in? Like, what are some of the stories that you guys are hearing from these people? Because when I hear a song like that, you know, it's one of those. It's what's great about the writing in that song is that there's something that feels very universally relatable yet specific about it, where you're clearly talking to a very specific group of people, but that group of people could be anyone that feels a certain kind of way. And that's kind of the beauty of the song. So I'm curious, what are some of the things people are telling you like that kind of material is getting them through?
I would say the vast majority, especially with that song and also Not Giving Up, have been a lot of kids, especially, I mean, just in general, we get messages from a lot of kids who are struggling with depression, anxiety, you know, feeling like they're oppressed and things like that. And it's kind of, you know, the reason that we made that song was so that people felt like they weren't alone and that they can stand up and, you know, be together. And that's kind of, I guess, the main thing that we get is someone saying that, you know, this is how I was feeling, whether it be, you know, depressed, even sometimes suicidal, and your song, you know, really, or your music really helps me through that. It makes me feel like I'm not alone. And that being said, we also make a point to try to get back to all of our fans that send us stuff, especially like that, and, you know, let them know that we appreciate it and we love them.
Well, I feel like it's one of those things where you guys have kind of positioned yourself as this band that kind of wants to be a beacon for those people that feel like an outcast, and that can be a really powerful marketing tool. But I always wonder about the sense of responsibility it also gives you, because writing the song, it's kind of like you're doing something for yourself. But once it's out there, it kind of takes on its life of its own, and everyone kind of makes it their own thing. So for you to be hearing these stories, like, how has that, I guess, changed your perspective on your writing, or has it influenced your creativity, you know, getting this feedback from the material so far?
I don't know if it's influenced our creativity as in like from, say, something that's going to influence our future. More so, it's just made us really happy because we all grew up kind of the same way. I can say for everyone in the band that we all grew up as some kind of lost adolescents, you know, and we know how it feels. And so hearing people say stuff like that, and that we helped them with issues that we dealt with ourselves when we were growing up, it just makes us feel really good. And so I think from a creative standpoint, if anything, it makes us feel like we hit the nail on the head with what we want to accomplish with this record. And so that being said, you know, that we would want to keep pursuing this.
One of the things that I really like about the band is the sound of this record is something I really gravitate towards, because it has the edge and the mainstream appeal of music that is popular from bands of the current times, like a Sleeping with Sirens type band. I know you guys get a lot of comparisons to them, but there's also this, I don't even know, it's almost like a slightly heavier element that kind of echoes of something a little bit older, maybe like like those mid 2000s post-hardcore kind of movement.
Yep.
So I mean, is that where you're pulling inspiration from? Because I'm curious. I'm listening to the record, and you get to, I'm trying to think of it. You get to a song like even as early as "Love Is a Liar's Game." It's like this song could come out in 2008 or 2017, and I think it would fit in.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think maybe, yeah, it is kind of our heavier parts. We didn't want to be that, like, quote unquote, you know, breakdown band. Like we wanted to maintain the heavy side of our sound, but we wanted it to sound like rock. And I think that is also kind of a relic of the, the earlier 2000s. And it kind of just, I guess, worked out that way. Taylor Larson worked with us a lot on helping us with a lot of the guitar parts. And it was sort of just a vibe that we felt like, went well. We didn't want to, go from a chorus into this crazy breakdown. We'd rather it be, more of like a, this sounds dumb, but, kind of like a chunkier riff, like something that you might hear from a heavier part in the Used, rather than, something that you'd hear from, like Of Mice and Men.
Yeah, a little bit more of a natural progression heaviness.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't necessarily come out of left field, and I guess that's kind of the appeal to me, is that I when you first hear a song like The Broken, which is kind of my introduction to the music, then you get the idea. It's like, well, this band could be heavy. They could go that way if they want to, and you do at times on the record, but you definitely kind of present it in a way where you don't have to take that. Like, you guys take the more creative turn, I guess, for lack of a better way to explain it. You could take the breakdown route, but you try to go a different route 9 times out of 10.
Yeah. We want to use heaviness as a tool rather than something that's a constant, like a tool to really like hammer in an idea or make a part hit that much harder than, using it as, all right, this verse just needs to be a breakdown because we don't have one in this song.
Exactly.
Because there are songs on the record that have no screaming on it at all.
Yeah, I very much like the variety in that, and you guys, there's a good job with the the sequencing of the record, because you do keep it pretty varied throughout. It's not like we just have a chunk of heavy music and then a chunk of softer stuff. It's pretty well interlaced.
Cool, thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem. Now, for you, the record's been done for a bit. There's a couple singles out there. People like what they like, but for you, what is the song on this record that you're still like excited about? Is there a song you keep coming back to? Is there one that you're like, wait till they hear this?
That song for me, I think, would be All Right. And not because it's my favorite song on the record, but because I think it's the most far-fetched song versus the old music. Like it's almost reminiscent of like a pop rock song with almost more on the pop side. And that I'm just really excited for people to kind of hear and to hear the feedback from it. As far as my favorite song, I think it might be Noise or Don't Wait for Me. But those are both kind of obviously unique in their own ways, but more reminiscent of Youth In Revolt. Whereas, I don't know, All Right, I'm just excited because it doesn't seem like something that the band would do.
No, that absolutely makes sense to me. I follow what you're saying. I like that song a lot too. I think that that'll be one that people enjoy. Do you think you'll bring it out on this upcoming tour you have?
That I can say for sure we won't, unfortunately.
It's a little different.
Yeah. Yeah, we're trying to keep the songs that we're playing on this tour, the more high energy ones. So yeah, unfortunately we do want to end up playing All Right eventually, but unfortunately not on this tour.
I follow what you're saying. So how far along in the preparation for this tour are you? You have the set list all hammered out, as same things every night, getting locked in?
Not all that far in. I mean, we have our set list all set, and we have like, our because most bands, you have a set that plays all the way through while you're playing, and that's all done as well. But we don't actually fly out to start practicing until it's the 10th.
It's like next Friday.
Yeah. And then so we're all flying out to New Jersey and starting to get it going. But yeah, so that being said, we're all practicing on our own. I'm singing everything every day and everybody's playing stuff. But I'd say we're very, very far away from feeling like we're ready for it. But We will be.
You've got time. You've got time.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious, there's all this talk today about whether or not bands need labels and whether or not bands need all this help and stuff. You guys are with Outerloop, who is, as a label, is pretty new. As a management firm, they've been around for a lot longer. Could you talk about how, I'm curious, how have they helped you guys, I guess, get your name out there? What has it been like kind of working with them as a new label, and how has that process kind of been for you so far?
They've been great. I would say, kind of to give a rundown of what I would say to a new band that's just saying, hey, I just want to get signed, is if you sign to a label, you want to sign to a label because they're giving you the money that you don't otherwise have and an outlet of marketing that you don't otherwise have. And if you're working with a manager, typically you want, your manager to have a lot of connections to get you a really good deal. Because I have seen so many bands, especially now, sign to these record labels, and even my friends, and I talk to them, and they're like, "Yeah, no, we have $2,000 for our first record." And it's like, well, why did you sign that? But Outerloop has been really great. It's we actually don't have specific budgets for our stuff. They just expect us to be within reason. And they have helped us on a financial level for everything we've needed, and have gotten us these great publicists. Like Stephanie, for example, has helped us out a ton, has gotten us in like the 2 most recent issues of AP, the most recent issue of Rock Sound, and just a ton of other stuff. This, for example, Stephanie hooked up. And then Susie over at Outerloop is just like a scheduling genie. And then Mike Mowry, who's our manager, I've actually worked with him for a long time, and he's just the best. He knows everybody and has been in the business for long enough to know what your best moves are pretty much at all times. So yeah, Outerloop has been pretty incredible for us, and we would re-sign to them over signing to like a bigger, more established label any day.
Well, I have heard those good things, and I've met Susie, I've met Mike, I've met all of them. They're all great people, and it's good to hear that, because sometimes you hear horror stories about bands, like you said, who join this upstart label or an upstart PR firm, management firm, or whatever, and they just kind of get locked into the situation where either they're paying way too much money or they're not getting enough money, and it's just kind of like a messy situation they don't know what to do and get out of. So it's good to know that you guys have kind of found something that works for you.
Yeah, exactly. We love where we're at. So, and I mean, we contemplated it a long time and had other options, and these are the people that we like to work with. So,
well, I'm curious. You mentioned being in the new last couple of issues of Alternative Press. I've caught those too. I know some was advertising, but I also know that they've covered you guys pretty heavily. You guys have been getting a lot of vlog coverage. So I'm curious, for a band in your position where you're about to release this full length record, there's a lot of hype for it, and you already have attention from, I guess, the leading voices in this alternative scene. So for you, like, what is the next level? Like, where do you go from here? What is it that you're like, oh, it would be cool if we could do this?
What we honestly want to do from here on out is, hopefully after this headliner that we're doing, and by the way, with Magash and From Under the Willow, they're both our really good friends and pretty incredible musicians. But after this, we're hoping to kind of open for tours for a long time. We don't want to be that band that's headlining in front of a couple people. We'd rather be the smallest band on the bill. So I guess that would be the next step, is pulling good numbers on this tour and doing well enough to land on some bigger ones.
I like hearing that, because I think there's a lot of people out there who feel like you get that small taste of headlining and then you keep doing that. But I think you've been around long enough already to understand that that's not really the best way to do it.
yeah, exactly.
Well, that's awesome.
But we did think it was important to do a headliner for this record to kind of reinforce, hey, we're coming out to do a small intimate tour for the people who care to see it. And we want to, we want to meet our fans and the people that support us on this low level, because we're hoping to grow a lot from here, and we want to make sure that everybody who has supported us from here gets a chance to hang out with us and see us like this.
Well, on that note, what can people expect from this upcoming tour? Now, it's just a short run of shows to kind of celebrate the release of the album, but what all do you have planned?
Yep. I mean, as far as what? As far as our
give us kind of the rundown, the lineup, and I guess you guys are doing. It is a headlining set, so you guys will be playing last, getting a full list of songs. How many new songs you bringing out, et cetera, et cetera?
We're going to be doing, I guess, technically all new songs. We are going to be playing "Love Is a Liar's Game" and "There for You," like the new versions of them, and then we're adding, I think, 2 more songs past what we did on our from that Outerloop showcase that we played recently. So I can say every song from that we'll be playing, which is "Noise," "Love Is a Liar's Game," "There for You," "Don't Wait for Me," and "The Broken." Sorry. And then, yeah, we're adding 2 more. So, and I'm just going to not disclose what the other 2 are, because I don't want to make someone be like, all right, yeah, then this is the one that's coming next for sure.
All right. Well, I guess the last thing I have for you is, what does the rest of 2017 look like for you? I know you guys have a lot of stuff that's not announced yet, but can we assume that you got this album comes out on the 17th, the first day of the tour is the next night in Worcester, I think, and and then after that run, what is it? Is it touring for the rest of the year mostly?
Yep, that's essentially the plan. Is we want to pretty heavily tour for this coming year, and well, I guess actually the year that we're in right now. And then right at the beginning of 2018, start, tour half the year and work on writing our next record for the other half.
Yeah, you have to be itching in particular for that, because I mean, you were involved in this album a good chunk, but next time it'll be like all you and the band. It'll be a little bit more of a definite stamp from you.
Yeah, I can't even describe how excited I am. I wish I got to build this one from the ground up, but next time, yeah, it's gonna be fun to start from scratch with all these guys.
For people at home who need to check you guys out, and we'll link the videos for The Broken, but what about where can we find you? Where can people go to keep up with everything Youth in Revolt?
I'd say our best outlet is going to be our Facebook. Close second would be Twitter and Instagram. But yeah, usually we're pretty active on especially our Facebook and our personal social media accounts everywhere.
Yeah, you definitely strike me as a band that makes yourself available.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we try to be. So partially
great,
for
man.
promotion and partially because we like to talk to our fans and make it known that we're available to talk to if someone has an issue or something like that.
I hear that it's very good for business to talk to your fans, to want to do that.
Yeah. Well, and it's also the very least we can do,
Yeah.
So.
Well, I gotta tell you, man, I've been listening to the record for a little while now. I'm fortunate like that, and I really like it. I think it's gonna be a big hit with people once they hear it in full.
Awesome, thanks. That's awesome to hear.
Definitely. I'm closer to 30 than I am to 20, so I always joke that like it's not necessarily made for me, but I like it, so I just assume people younger than me will. But I really do think I think it will connect in that way, because it does have this thing. We talked about how it relates. There's this little bit of hints of like the mid 2000s, the mid aughts there a little bit, and I think that what you tap into there is not just a mid aughts thing. I think it's something that runs throughout the history of alternative music, and you guys are tapping into that in a way that is unique, and it works for you in a big way. And I'm excited to see how people react to the album.
Awesome. Yeah. So obviously, me too. We've all been just sitting like 5-year-olds a week before Christmas, like. Just ready for it to get out.
All right, man. Well, I'm going to let you go, but thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me, and, best of luck on everything, and hopefully we'll talk again maybe when I'm in Grand Rapids in a couple of months here. We'll do a follow-up and see how the album's doing for you.
Yeah, sounds perfect.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later. Have a great day.
All right, cool. You too.